This is BBC Radio 4. It's 6:30. Time for today.
Morning from Peter Hobday and Brian Redhead on Wednesday, the 11th of March.
Today's headlines. Expectation is rife that the Prime Minister will ask the Queen for a dissolution of Parliament.
This is GLR, the BBC station for London. The headlines this morning: the Prime Minister is expected to call a general election within the next 48 hours.
On the Underground, the closure of Mansion House because of a suspect package is now open again and trains are stopping there.
Amid speculation of an imminent general election, London's busmen and women have been speaking out over Conservative plans to privatise the capital's buses. Whilst the Ministry of Transport insists a privatised bus service is in the best interest of the public, bus workers are incensed by the proposals. They say it would lead to wide-scale redundancies and ultimate misery for London's commuters.
I heard on the news last night there's about 5 garages that are going to lose their conductors. But it makes me worried to a certain degree because I took on an added responsibility. I've got to bring up my grandson. And I need a job to help pay for things that he might need. I'm getting a little bit of help from the council because they class us as foster parents. But it's not the same as having a job. And I've never been out of work ever since I started work.
In all, I don't think the public have any respect for us. They hate us. Arguments, we've had arguments. Someone threatened to slash my face in one day, but...
Why?
Because I wouldn't let them get away with not paying. They didn't want to pay the fare.
What did you say?
I went and got them. I went upstairs and got them. Told them to come and pay the fare.
We're trying to keep our London Red buses running. We're trying to keep our London Red buses on the road. Stop the deregulation of London buses. Sign our petition.
I am an absolutely committed bus man, bus driver, bus worker. I would do nothing else. I love my job as a bus driver. But I do not believe that we get the appreciation at times from our managers and from members of the public how important we are. We are very, very worried about losing our jobs to private operators who are in the business to make money. That will only make the service worse. It will not do any good to the people that catches buses. If you're trying to make money, you're going to cut corners.
Well, I've been on the job now just over 33 years, and you wouldn't believe it, how the job has changed. Just the build-up of traffic and things like that, you know, trying to run to time and aggravation of passengers. They do get annoyed at times, which is understandable, like with the traffic hold-ups and the delay, you know, the buses coming along. But they do tend to take it out on the conductors or the driver, you know, whichever the case may be. If it's a one-man operated bus, they take it out on the driver. Or if it's a crew operated, they say, naturally enough, they have a go at the first man they can see, which is the conductor.
But if you was to take that to heart, you'd be a nervous wreck at the end of the day. And anybody that deals with the public, you can never win. You can never win when you deal with the public. Never. You can have a good try, but you can never win.
Good morning, your manager.
Well, I deal with all the complaints that come into the garage.
You must be very busy then, right. Tell me, when your staff leave the garage,
yeah,
are they checked at all for dress?
They should be in full uniform.
Well, somebody's slipping up because they look terrible, some of them.
Yes.
Yesterday on the 15 bus,
yes,
the conductor was wearing a floppy cardigan, chains round his neck with jewellery. I couldn't believe he was a conductor. But I've seen it with strawberry hats and all sorts.
Right, okay.
You have to contend with the traffic, you're getting used to that, but it's the people, it's the people more than anything that gives you hassle. And just the people's faces in general, because they're so miserable out here. And one old get says to me once, I said, thanks, love. He said, don't thank me, he says. I said, you miserable git. Yeah. It's just like any job, really. Sometimes I do enjoy it, and other times I just think, stuff it. I could do something, you know, easier than this.
These minibuses are a lot easier to manoeuvre, especially when you're in narrow streets like we are now. They become more acceptable to the public, and they do seem to accept them a lot more. They would prefer the larger bus, obviously, the double-decker hop-on, hop-off type. But unfortunately, the economic climate at the moment doesn't allow us. We have to be cost-effective, and I think this is probably the best bus available to us now at the moment.
John, he's my permanent partner, yeah.
What do you reckon to him as a bus driver?
He's good. He's very good. He can be temperamental at times, like everybody is. You know, so I've been with him quite a few years now, and in all that time, touch wood, I've never had a serious accident where we've had to make out reports and everything, and I've never been late. Down to me. Only going to Oxford Circus.
I enjoy the job when I'm out on the road, as I say, like, you know, I enjoy driving for a living. But, you know, I could do with a change. Like, I have had enough of bus driving, I'll be truthful about that. I have a slight regret, you know, when I was younger, like, I do regret that I didn't do the London knowledge. I think I would have enjoyed being a taxi driver, but that's life. Being a London bus driver, it used to hold a lot of pride years ago, but I think that has dropped off a lot. I mean, now you've got to be proud, like, to have a job, I think.
Oxford Circus, all change. Come along. Come on, end of the line. I'm not going any further.
I believe the time is now right to go ahead for a decision at a general election. There will be a particularly clear choice at this general election, and I shall be inviting them to make it on April the 9th. I'm utterly confident that we will win the election, with a clear and working majority. I have no doubt about that.
A lot of people, they like a woman bus driver. They say that we're safer than the men. We're a bit more considerate when it comes to women with babies and things like that. You know, we sort of tend to let them sit down first. The men don't really give a monkeys about that.
What about the men bus drivers? Do they think they're better than the women?
No, because they're not. No. I think the men are all for women bus drivers. Quite when I joined the garage, they like the women bus drivers.
Brings a bit of glamour to the job.
I don't know, you better ask them that. Not if you see me at 4 o'clock in the morning, it doesn't.
Well, Michael Portillo, do you expect that there will be any significant change of tack on transport policy in the next Parliament?
Yes, we will be deregulating the buses. It's brought tremendous benefits outside London because we believe that competition can improve service to the customer and good heavens.
Anybody want the Edgware Road? I'm all right, yeah, I've always been all right. Me, I always look after number one. What it's going to be like for the young people in the industry, nobody seems to know. And when you start talking to the minibus drivers, they're working like Victorian hours for slave wages.
Well, discrepancy at the moment is that a minibus driver is at a basic hourly rate of £4.31 an hour, opposed to, say, a one-person operated double-decker bus, which is about £5.60. The discrepancy there of £1.30 an hour. That's just on your basic hourly rate. If, for example, you do work overtime or double time and time and a half as comes into it, the discrepancy obviously grows a lot wider. And it does cause a lot of friction.
3 days I've been paid for. Well, I mean, you can't just not pay me.
No, what happened?
I worked.
What did you do?
224.
224. Lovely. I'd like to look at that. Come back and see you soon.
All right, then. Nice one.
I tell you, you do. I can't do it. You took it. Look at that. See?
Doing 38 hours in this job ain't no fun. You're talking about £120 take home. You want to have a look at that?
No, this can't be right. You can't, mate.
I think I'm more than you, I tell
You got that, mate?
Huh? There's my name. There's my pay. £122 take home.
I think I'm more than you. It's obviously, isn't it? I mean,
I'm a hard worker.
Big bus counter, you would bring this.
Yeah,
right.
Look at that.
But look at this.
They can't count, innit?
That's it.
No, it's all right if you're a big bus driver, but when you're driving a minibus like us, we get £1.20 an hour less. You know, you work that over 50 hours, you're talking about 60 quid. Serious money.
Can you see yourself staying on the buses for the rest of your life?
Nah, way. No way. But then, you can't complain. If you complain, you're liable to be out the door.
I'm not prepared to drive a bus, or neither are my colleagues prepared to drive a bus, where another man is taking home £4 an hour more.
What, but Jim, why?
Why, Charlie, are we being stupid here?
No, we're not being
Why?
stupid, Jim. The agreement is not in any other garage.
I'll tell you what, Charlie, you type train me on an 18 and every other driver on the Gold Arrows. We have let me finish, please. We have an equivalent licence. Now, we brought this argument up before, and I'm not going to go on and on about it. You know, I know it's morally wrong.
Yes, I agree.
So now you're turning around and telling me that if something goes wrong, we just slap in an 18 driver on a midi bus and he can drive a bus at £4 an hour more than the other guy. That to me is wrong. And any union official turns up here today and tells me that it's right. He's not fit to represent the people.
Danny, you must turn back. No, let me just explain that.
Ash, can I have an overtime docket and a lost property form, please? You know, Tottenham supporters got around in an Arsenal scarf, look. You know, I've had a busy day.
You get the same sort of money every day?
No, different jobs paying different, money. They, if you're on the school, like some of the school buses, of course you get a lot busier on them with all the kids.
Do you enjoy that?
No, I hate it.
Why?
I hate picking up the school kids.
Why?
Because they're animals. It's not fair on the public neither, because once the schools come out, 3 or 4 buses will pass through Wembley, packed out with school kids, and the public, don't stand a chance at getting on them. So I think we should have school buses especially for them, the little gremlins.
Overtime. Now we can go on. See you, Joe. See you Monday. Bye.
We're here to deal with any problems arising from fraudulent travel through to personal injury accidents and the like. Obviously emergency incidents like bomb scares, any emergency incidences which require assistance of an official and relay any information back to the controller so he can take some evasive action.
Thank you for everything. Where's my daughter? Can I have my daughter, please? Thank you very much.
Sit down, just sit down and calm down.
Sit down. Can I have my baby with me? Sit down.
Can we calm down? Look, you're affecting your baby. You're affecting your baby. Now, can we just calm down? Calm down and relax.
I can't believe this.
Yeah, calm down, love. All right, you're on London buses, right? You've been dealt with the Metropolitan Police. Now, calm down, okay? You're affecting the baby now. Okay, fair enough? Right, that's a good young lady there, good girl. Right? Now, let's just have some quick details.
Thank you very much. That's it, me finished now for another day. Go home to have my liver and chips. What? No, you're not going to think. You're not filming me opening my wage packet. My God, it wasn't worth coming to work for all the aggravation.
She's then paid her 70p. Give her a ticket. As I've given her a ticket,
You give
she
me a
has
ticket?
thrown
Okay.
she's thrown it down. Then she's told me I've got to pick it up. She's grabbed my jacket.
How can I accept her when she didn't offer? She
Calm
didn't do
down and let
anything.
me speak. Now look, as we've told you, if you want to take this matter further and you want to get your 70 pence
But how can I get to
listen
lose
to
her
me,
without my
listen to me.
70p? That's the only 70p with me.
Right.
That's the only 70p. And if I'm going to take another bus, they will ask for another 70p. If you can think, you will remember you punched me. You punched me and you are saying that I assault you.
I think what we'll do to diffuse the situation here quickly now and remove the obstruction. So I'm going to put them without payment on another bus, okay? and so we can diffuse the situation and get this construction moved. Okay. Right, so when the next 36 arrives, I'll stop it here and we'll transfer. So we'll put you on this bus and it'll take you straight to Lewisham, okay?
You want the glasses? Yeah, they're all right. Plenty of them. Okay. Good bus. Had a run. We'll book it up. The pair of us, we're here every night. No one knows we exist. But our main job is checking shoes, belts, ready for the morning service. Our main thing is getting the service out in the morning.
So you're working all through the night?
We're working all through the night, like we are now.
You get them on the road?
We get them on the road, see. The RM is the double-decker, the last of the old vestige of London transport. Open platform, jump on and off when you like. If you fall off and get killed, well, you just carry on, you just drive off, carry on. That's part of London, you know, get on and off where you like. People like to do that.
You're bringing these new buses. I mean, a lot of them take more passenger and things like that, but these are here to stay. But we know them inside out. Anything wrong, they call us.
We know all their fiddles. We know all the little tricks they get up to pack up. After the years we've been on the job,
we know these buses.
We know the little things they, you know. Because there are a few who don't want to work. Not there always will be. You know, but basically, this is the best one. This is the old girl. She's 30 years old. She'll go another 30 years. It's a beautiful job. It's a great job, you know. All right, you get dirty. You'll get dirty sometime. But it's a great job. It really is a good job. As I say, we're sweating on what's going to happen. No one knows. I think some people know. They won't tell us. Not until April. And that's all over the garage. That's drivers, us, everybody. Someone knows what's going on, but they won't tell us yet.
If I leave here now, I don't know if to do anything else. I'm a coach driver, really. But I don't like driving. I just like to put life into things. Maybe tomorrow you come in, this garage closed down. You see, so, you know what I mean? You don't know.
4:15 in the morning. Whew. The one thing about privatisation is, if it goes ahead, this particular duty, I reckon, will be one duty that wouldn't run, because if you're lucky, you pick up 3 people on the whole trip. Morning.
Beautiful sight, beautiful sight.
So in a private eyes, that is not profitable. The people that you do pick up this early in the morning are grateful for the service, because it's enabling them to get to work with public transport at a price that they can afford. Because if they could afford a taxi, they wouldn't be going to work at this time of the morning.
All mobiles from Metro Control, please be advised. Oxford Street is closed between Oxford Circus and Bond Street due to a suspect package. All mobiles westbound through Oxford Street, traffic is diverted left into Regent Street, down to Piccadilly Circus. From Piccadilly Circus, effectively turn right Piccadilly, right at Hyde Park Corner at Park Lane to Marble Arch, and pick up line of route.
That could be quite fun down there. That's been going on all morning. Since I started work, that's all been coming over the radio. They closed down Euston this morning, Gower Street. I don't know if it's Hope's phone calls or what's happening.
All mobiles from Metro Control, please be advised. Due to a suspect package in Euston Station, both British Rail and Underground has been evacuated. Services will not be allowed to use Euston Bus Station and should continue on the eastbound direction in Euston Road without turning into Euston Square.
Yeah, attention all mobiles. Due to a security alert at Charing Cross, the Strand has been closed from the Aldwych down to Trafalgar Square.
Yeah, well, this one should have been going to the Aldwych,
but because we've got a bomb scare in the Strand, all which is closed, Fleet Street is closed. So we put them into Piccadilly Circus to get the bus back so that we create a service by so doing.
I just heard there is a security alert down here somewhere, so we may be on diversion. So please bear with us and we'll get you where you're going, all right? Still can't get on the 25, can it? Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, I've just heard there may be a bomb scare up the road, so we might be on diversion, but if you bear with us, we'll get you where you're going, all right?
I mean, we had one about 4 weeks ago where a bomb did go off, and they shut every station down in London. And it made a hell of a difference, you know, the loading and the unloading with passengers, because we had to take their people. And you know, it's the worst loading of passengers I've had in my whole length of service.
Well, central London, more or less, well, it becomes to a standstill because the Aldwych and the Strand are closed. It forces the traffic back. This is what creates the problem. See, so a service we can only give as best we could. We've got a bus leaving there now, and that one should have left here at 4 minutes past. He's now what 24 minutes late because he got stuck in the closure of the Aldwych.
All mobiles from Metro Control. All mobiles from Metro Control. The incidents which have caused the closure of streets in the West End of London are now clear, and all central London streets are now open. All diversions are off. Control out.
Until they finish this campaign, the IRA, you've got to be more alert than what you normally are. You've got to check everything, and if you do get anything, you've got to be careful how you touch it. And if you're suspicious, you just get the driver to call what we term a code red and get the police there and get everybody off and away from the bus as safe as possible until it's checked out. It's going to get worse the closer it gets to the election.
Good afternoon, Westbourne Park. What's the problem?
I just waited 25 minutes at Fifth Cottage, and then 3 came together. I can't understand it.
I didn't realise we had any problems this afternoon, but I'll check with our controller in a little while and find out what's happened up there.
Driver, keep your time down.
What time is it?
Time is now 28.
What time are you doing here?
Well, don't you know what time you're doing here? Have you got a time card?
What kind of place is this?
I'm telling you, keep your time down, all right?
Want a red pen to borrow?
And look, you don't want that hat on either.
Well, the one came along, and then there were a couple more behind, and I just find that really, really annoying and upsetting. I'm just trying to go shopping.
Right.
That's why we're here, to try to let the buses run near enough to time as possible. They run 3-4 minutes early, you know what I mean? You tell them off. You warn them, you advise them, and if they do not adhere, then you put them on report. They go and see the governor, and then he takes the necessary action. See that one? He's 1 minute early.
You've got certain drivers in the garage that are known as scratchers.
What's that mean?
This means, well, they don't particularly want to do the work. They'll leave the destinations a couple of minutes early. That way they catch up to the bus in front of them. He'll do all the work and they'll just tail them back one stop so that they don't actually pick up many passengers, so they have a nice easy day. You've got fast drivers and you've got slow drivers in the garage. I'm one of the quicker ones, so I tend to catch up to some of my drivers, some of the drivers in front of me.
So that means you're a scratcher?
No. I won't mind. Some of the drivers might think I am. Everybody does it, but there's well-known scratchers.
We're here to try to discuss the early running situation, which I feel you are deliberately running early from time to time. And the trade union is not here to defend any driver in this garage for early running. We categorically do not. Full stop.
Fair enough.
Now take for argument's sake, when you got booked in the morning for running early, you got booked in the afternoon for running early as well, right?
Correct.
Now, didn't you leave the point early?
No.
You did?
No.
I was told so by your conductor.
It's news to me.
But give and take the traffic situation, if it was a light day for traffic, so obviously you make time up. But don't you ever think that I left early, so judging the traffic situation, I've got to slow down? Which would not put you in the situation where you are early.
I didn't say to go belting it because you've got done 4 minutes I left early. I lost going down towards Fleet Street.
But you still end up
20 minutes
early. So that means that you wasn't taking 9 bit of notice whatsoever.
I was just cruising 25, 30 mile an hour.
John, you can't.
If there's traffic there, there's traffic there. If there's no traffic.
You cannot. I am a bus driver.
You know I can belt it.
Yes, but that must be what you was doing to run 20 early.
No. I was just went at 25, 30 mile an hour. No traffic in Fleet Street.
Your argument that you're trying to put up for appeal is wrong. Your argument that you're putting up for running early is wrong. So basically, you are deliberately doing it.
No, I've got like outside Sainsbury's 6 minutes early. He went inside and done me for 10. Tells the conductor he done me for 9. And he's never ever booked me before for 6 minutes. That's what my case is, victimisation. No Murray will normally let 6 minutes go. As long as you're under single figures, you don't worry. I mean, double figures, you don't say nothing.
You can't be popular with everyone because, as you know, we've got certain rules that they must adhere to. And if they don't, well, you've got to put them on report, whatever, and you won't be very popular when you start putting people on the report and they're seeing the governor.
You got a final caution?
Yeah.
Right? Well, final, you know what a final caution means. That's exactly what it says. And yet you're still doing exactly the same offence the day after. It's unbelievable. You're making no attempt to rectify the problem you've got.
He's never booked me before for 6 minutes.
Do you believe that it is justified of all these endless catalogue of running early, do you expect me to go into the manager and plea your case when you have not made an attempt to rectify it? What position have you put me in?
If you look at the last time I was not called...
I ask you...
This you must say I rectified myself. If you look for them records again, I went over 12 months without getting caught, well, not getting caught, booked or nothing. A perfect year without nothing happening.
I think you've just hit it on the head. You went 12 months without getting caught.
Yeah, and now I've been caught twice with a couple of...
Yes, but you've went 12 months without getting caught.
I'm not saying get caught, I didn't get booked for nothing.
You've got to a very, very serious stage where you could be. I'm not saying you can't. You could be dismissed. What can I say? I have nothing to say to the management, and when they dismiss you, what do you think that you're going to gain?
I gain nothing.
I don't want to see you lose your job. Other than you running early, you're a good driver.
The way it is on the election trail.
Murray put Labour 3 points ahead of the Conservatives. The figures, Labour up 1 at 41%, Conservatives down 1 at 38, Liberal Democrats down 2 at...
Oh, Crowley, when are you going in for your DDE? Hey? Yeah? So what? So what, you're going to be sacked by 11:30? Don't forget you owe me that £5 for that sponsorship before you go. I'll make sure I get that before you get the sack. Thank you. I'll cross you off, just in case he gets the sack. I might not see him. Yeah, he's up on the thing, isn't he? Running early, he's already on his final warning.
John, to get down the Marble Arch 20 minutes early, you've got to leave here 10 minutes early. Got a bit of a nerve appealing. You come at 20 minutes and then you get down the road and get done again.
No, it's 2 different trips. Two different trips.
You're not appealing against a decision.
I can't appeal against it, I've got no grounds to appeal against the decision.
So you're up again for running early.
But you've got the original card.
What do you reckon will be the result?
I'll say they might enforce a final caution.
I thought you were already on the final caution.
But I haven't signed for it.
I I reckon you'll be on the
Special probation, I
Yeah,
guess.
something like that. Yeah, you never know, Mike. You never know what he could do.
I reckon if I was the governor,
You'd be out on your hero.
Yeah, I thought say that.
You'd be out on your hero, mate, if we was the governor.
Good morning, everybody. This is garage disciplinary inquiry on a charge of breaching rule number 23, running early by 10 minutes. He disputes that he was in fact 10 minutes early and said he was only 6 minutes early. Had you checked your watch at any time that day?
Yes, first thing I always do when I get to work, have a time check.
Right, how do you do that?
By ringing, dialing 123.
Right. So why did you not dispute the time at the time?
I said them 10 minutes earlier. I said I'm only 6, and I said to you I couldn't get a time check because the radio in the pass wasn't working. I was sitting outside, but like, I didn't get the bell to come to say I could still be sitting at that stop now because you made me go without the bell. You said you made me come off that stop into the stand.
Thank you. Do you remember at any time Mr. Cronin saying to you he was only 6 minutes?
Never queried the time, never mentioned anything about how early he was or nothing. I told him he was 10 minutes early. He never disputed it. I went round to the conductor. The conductor never disputed it either.
You'll get a much younger staff now than what we did when I first come on the job. It was an older man's job years ago. You know, type of staff, you know, we get a younger staff now. And they half of them, I don't think they'll be long term. The discipline is so strict now that half of them won't last as long as what, say, like myself have.
Have you ever been disciplined?
Oh, yeah. Flipping hell, yeah.
Does it bother you getting a report?
No. Of course, no way. At the moment, my disciplinary record has improved in the last 6 or 7 years. It's only because I've decided to say, well, that's it. I can see the governor walking up and down the stairs, but I don't want to go in his office. I don't want to see him no more. You know, so I've kept my nose clean.
And how am I expected to believe that you are now taking notice of advice not to run early when I look here and see that on the 17th of December I advised you about wearing your uniform to a proper standard, and I see how you look today. And where's your tie?
My light's still at home. I don't think I've worn a tie since I've been here.
Well, I think it's time you started thinking about it.
I think we better stick to the early running and not get involved in the appearance. I think it would be...
Well, I think it's relevant, Mr. Roden. Mr. Cronin is trying to tell me that he is taking notice of advice given to him, and it's not clear to me that he is. Where is your PSV badge?
Yeah. Will I drive the buses down like that?
Right, well, let's have it out like that now. Now, let me tell you very clearly that you look a mess. You do not give the appearance of a professional driver. I think if you took more trouble over your personal appearance, more trouble over your own self-respect, you might then also adopt a much more professional attitude to looking after your customers on the road and not inconveniencing them, sometimes seriously inconveniencing them, by rushing about and continually running early.
My second half yesterday is 5 hours long. Sudbury, no toilets. King's Cross, no toilets. Well, there is, but they're decorating them all, so they're all locked up at the moment. Backbury, no toilets. Back to Baker Street, toilets. 4.5 hours you've got to go without going to the loo.
There is absolutely no doubt in my mind that the correct decision, which ought to be reached today, is dismissal. You ought to lose your job. You were warned formally with a caution on record last August that you were running too early, too often, and that your behaviour was unacceptable. I don't accept that the inspector is in any way inaccurate in his report. I think you've got to pull yourself together and stop behaving in this ridiculous way, because you're putting everybody's jobs at risk by doing so, including your own.
If you have 1 day off a month, you would lose your bonus.
Yeah, no, that's what it is, isn't it?
What's that for?
You know, your period.
When you get your...
So we're allowed a day off every 3 months due to our periods. So we have to take the pill for 3 months and just have one period. Bit of a joke, but...
Women in charge of these garages.
They should. Like, you go in to see the management. What were you off for, Shirley? Periods? Oh, very good, yes, OK. See you at the same time next month.
Yeah.
My manager knows my period cycle more than what my husband does.
Now, but I'm not actually going to dismiss you today. However, I am going to place you on 12 months special probation, and I don't like putting people out of work, but I certainly will do so if I have to. So this really is a final warning. Any more early running and you're out of a job.
I'm still disputing the fact that it's 10 minutes. Inspectors are everywhere now. I think it's diabolical myself, honest to God, because they're out to get me, I think. I've been crawling about on the road. I've been doing about 10, 15 mile an hour. I'll still just get there on time, in and out, in and out. Too much rushing about. In my opinion, I'm in danger to the public. Don't think I'll be a bus man this time next week, the way things are going.
The purpose of this meeting, as you can see on the agenda here, to discuss your wages for 1992-93 and also the working conditions at Westbourne Park Garage.
If I was to make a suggestion that we're looking for a 20% or a 25% wage rise, what would be the answer? From the firm's point of view, it'd be unrealistic. Absolutely. Right? From my point of view, last year I got a 4-point-something% wage rise, right? Right. I paid 25% increase in my rent. Now, it's unreasonable and unrealistic of me to ask for a 6, 7, 10% pay rise because the firm can't afford it. They can't afford 10%, but I can afford 25% of my rent.
I'm quite happy to ask you, Governor, for 50%. I've got to justify it. You tell me to go away and be realistic. I mean, so much now with the competitive tendering has forced up hours, cut wages, threatened you with deregulation and the loss of jobs. Now, that's not the road to travel.
I just don't believe in the union anymore. When I first come on, it was all right, but not now. They seem to have lost their way somewhere along the line. I've lost confidence in the leadership. Hang on there, mate. I've just lost confidence in the leadership. It's all right, love. I've got hold of him.
Now, this company is making money. Now, that should justify us getting better conditions. We're here to decide today whether we go in and accept a pay cut or go in with one hand tied behind your back because you're frightened about deregulation, or you're going to go in and say, they're making money, it's successful. This justifies our pay claim. Now give it to us. Showing us that they appreciate what we've done. Like you get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, you're up at 12 o'clock at night. One of your brothers was stabbed the other day to make a profit. And we're worrying about whether or not we're going to get a pay cut. We're here today to tell them we want better money, better conditions, we deserve it and we've earned it.
You should be all right for your performance anyway.
8 o'clock performance.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, very good.
No problem.
By the way, sir, could you tell me how old is this bus?
This particular one's about 21 years old.
Is this pretty standard on the route?
Yeah, they're pretty standard. You've got to get off here, by the way. You go round the corner where the lights are.
When I started this job, there were no pay. £12 a week. £14 a week nights. Now when I stick it till this time, what? It must be, and it must be something. I don't know if it's the oil.
Obviously, we don't like the way the job's going, you know, the privatisation, because to be quite honest, we could be out of a job. I mean, everybody knows that, redundancies, you know.
We do all know to look jobs.
Oh, that's right, yeah, we are. I mean, who's going to employ us two old, silly old sods at our age?
If I won the polls on Saturday, the last person I'd vote for is Neil Kinnock. I would vote Conservative because if you've got money, I want to hold on to my money. The fact of the matter is, I haven't got any money and I'm not likely to win the polls, so I'm going to vote Labour. Because for me personally, I had it better under Labour.
But we ain't done too bad under 13 years of Tory government. All right, the last 12 months or so, we've been uncertain in our industry because we didn't know we're not sure whether we'll have a job in the next 10 years or not, or so, or whether all these RMs that we're working now will end up in our museum at Covent Garden.
This garage, apparently we've been told, the governors are waiting for the election. Now, if one party gets in, the changes are on. If the other party gets in, they're off. So, you know, depends on what your interests are, which way you want it to go. But there are a lot of these private firms, you know, everything's going to change. It will change. It's got to change. The Tories get in. Anybody can walk in here and say to us, we want to run that route. There's nothing we can do about it. And we've got some very profitable routes, 28s, 31s, 18s. They earn a lot of money. Now, if a private wants to come in and say, well, I'll run that, and they care to outbid us, and shut this garage, that's how they shut all the others. Yeah, people are down.
A lot.
Because you know what's going to come.
A lot.
You know what's coming. Yeah, and there's nothing we can do about it. We carry on working, get a service out. The only thing we can say is to be good at our job and get our buses out on the road. And then people can't say, well, you don't run a good bus service, we'll run it. But they can't say that if we run a good service, which as far as I know, what we're told from upstairs, we are. But like everything else, you've got to wait and see.
The big bus is taking more money than the mini bus. Because since the... Well, I need to put a point in if you don't mind. The point I'm trying to make is this, that as far as I'm concerned, this gentleman made a statement here that if you're driving a big bus, you get big bus rate. If you're driving a small bus, you get small bus rate. Why then is it that when a big bus driver comes down and do our rate, he get big rate for it? So he can drive a bus on our route, getting £3 and £4 an hour more than us. And you call that fair?
What your employer did was he kept the wolves at bay and he kept the private contractors out, and he kept them out by a deliberate plan. He'd introduced minibuses. How much longer he can do it, if you got deregulation, I don't know. Because if deregulation comes, you'll have every man jack who's got 4 wheels and 6 seats in the back of an old van up and down the Shepherd's Bush Road trying to pick up the punters. That's the reality of deregulation. It's not going to be good for you. We're going to have to oppose it. We want to oppose it. But there is no way, with respect, you can instruct me to go in and seek the same rate for everybody in one because I wouldn't be able to do it. And if you give me that instruction, I'm telling you now I'm not going to be able to do it because your employer won't give it me. Whether you like it or not, the pot is only one size. He will be saying to me, as he is doing elsewhere, why am I paying £4.35, £4.52, £4.64 an hour? There's 2 million plus people out there without a job. And I can advertise and I can get in as many drivers as I want at £3.95 an hour. And he's telling me that now. They're bragging about it. I don't like it. It's an employer's market. People are unemployed. Many people are unemployed.
The way it is on Capital FM.
I tell you something about the result of this election. We are going to win it with an overall majority for 5 years. Not conjecture, absolutely stone cold certain of it I am.
Here we are. 10 o'clock, and our view is it's going to be a hung parliament. This election is too close to call. We're saying it could be from the Conservatives short by 10 of an overall majority to Labour, the largest party, and short by 13 of an overall majority. I mean, the key to this is that there's everything to play for. This is going to be a very exciting night. It throws the whole of the election back to the constituencies.
I've had no regrets doing this job. But about 10 years ago, when I applied for an inspector's job, I really set my heart on it. And I suppose maybe I went asleep and my subconscious mind didn't really want me to have the job. And my old dad said, if you're happy doing the job you're doing, why change? So I said to myself, why should I change? I'll stay as I am. I'm quite happy.
So you'll retire a bus conductor?
I will retire a bus conductor, or I'll get made redundant a bus conductor.
24,159.
So Basildon has gone Conservative again. A surprise poll in the last election. They've held on to it again now, the majority down, but a very small swing from Conservative.
With my stepdaughter in the garage, I don't want her to remain a clippy. I want her to get the driving that she set her heart on doing and maybe become an inspector or maybe get a job inside. I don't want her to end up what I would term a tuppenny bus driver. I want her to near enough try and achieve something with her life, even though I've messed up mine.
You think you have?
I think I have. I reckon if I'd have stayed, if I'd have shown more interest at school and one or two other things that I tried since I left school, perhaps I wouldn't have ended up being a bus conductor.
Norman Stewart Hewson Lamont has been duly elected to serve as member for the Kingston-upon-Thames constituency.
Oh, what a shame.
That was almost inevitable with the whole of the movement in Nottingham and Leicester. Where are we on the prediction? Well, the prediction now says 332. We've got 543 seats in. The Conservatives actually got 373 seats, whereas Labour was 332. And you can actually make allowances for odd things that can happen.
Well, now Labour has gained Streatham. Keith Hill is now the member.
Now that's very striking because there is a Lambeth seat.
25,000.
Patton's lost the seat.
He's lost there.
He lost the seat.
That's a disgrace, don't lose it to the Liberals.
Party chairman loses the seat.
Oh, it looks like he's
knew
going
it.
to cry.
Yes, Frank Dobson, Labour's energy spokesman and one of their campaign team as well, one of the campaign strategists. No problem voting on there.
He's not very happy though. You can see disappointment all over his face.
So the battle is not yet over.
I think he knows it.
And it is a battle. A battle for the survival of the National Health Service, a battle for proper investment.
If the English people put in the Conservatives again, they deserve nothing
They're
better.
going to get majority, anyway.
If they put in the Conservatives again, they deserve nothing better, Jeff. It's as simple as that.
Of my country.
They don't deserve a health service. They don't deserve a decent education
To come
system.
from this area, I'm proud to be British.
The Conservatives are celebrating their fourth consecutive election win, the first time it's been done since 1822. It looks as if John Major will have a clear majority of 17 seats over all other parties combined by the time the remaining 31 results are in. As he returned to Downing Street, Mr. Major said he was ready to start work immediately on a 5-year term of office.
I'm very pleased at the result. It's a result, I think, that has surprised one or two people, but not the Conservative Party. I'm very pleased with it. And it's nice to be back, and I look forward to what we can do there in the next 5 years. We've set out some very clear, very comprehensive plans for our future to lift us out of recession and to carry out the reforms that we think are right for this country and to build the sort of society that I want to see.